Hey everybody, and welcome to another Jamovi video. This is going to be an overview video for a new module that you can download for power analysis within Jamovi. And I plan on having, after this video, several videos for each of the power analysis functions based on data analysis type. So if you're going to do a correlation, a t-test, etc. So it's sort of complementing my G-Power videos on the same subject. So they're going to be individual videos for all but one of the power analysis tools within this module. So what is this module? Well, it is called pamlj, and you'll find it under the power little icon here on the top bar, power. So it puts both of my power modules in there. So here you can see pamlj, okay? Not to be confused with J-Power. We've got pamlj, and you can see that it has 7 different power analysis functions. We've got correlation, t-test, proportions, general linear model, factorial designs, mediation, and structural equation models. So I'm going to have separate videos on each of these. So this video is going to be super quick on showing you each of each of them in turn, and then we'll go and do a video for each, and each of these videos are probably going to be 10 minutes or less, right? So there we go. So pamlj, how do we get pamlj? Well, we go up to modules, we click on that Jamovi library, and we can type in PAM, and it brings it up, power analysis for linear models 0.6.3, developed by Marcello Gallucci. Thank you, Marcello, saying that it is in beta. A suite for power analysis for linear models at the moment allows for power analysis of Pearson correlation, general linear model, which is t-test, correlation, ANOVA, regression, and ANCOVA, analysis of covariance, and other statistical tests such as mediation. For the GLM, the analysis can be based on standardized coefficients, which is useful for regression, proportion of partial variance effect sizes, so eta squared, omega squared, or epsilon squared, or means and standard deviations, which is very similar to what you can do in G-Power 3.1 videos on my channel. Provides estimation of the required sample size, power, and minimally detectable effect size, plus plots for sensitivity analysis. Again, things that you can do in G-Power, but if you're just a power Jamovi user, maybe you just use this for your basic tests. Not to say that G-Power is now obsolete. It is a very useful program, and it has a ton of very minute kinds of effects. So I would see pamlj as a complement, or maybe a quick power analysis tool. So install that on your app to follow along. Let's take a look at what these modules look like. Again, separate videos for a tutorial on how to do and understand correlation through mediation. I'll show you structural equation model. You need to have some R background to do it, so it might not be that useful to use in this case. Okay, so here is what the correlation power analysis looks like. I'm just going to use the default, and we'll go through this in a separate video, as I keep saying. What I want to point out for each of these is there's this info button right here. You click on that, and it gives you some helpful information, something that I think G-Power could benefit from, because I get a ton of questions on my G-Power videos on what each thing actually means. And if you're not listening to what I'm saying, or going back and pausing and rewinding and doing all of that stuff, then you might lose out on some information, and that is unfortunate. This has it all written down, right? So please select the aim of the analysis, right? So that's over here. Do we want to do N, power, or effect size? And remember, N, power, and effect size, including our type 1 error rate criterion alpha, these 4 things are connected when we do a power analysis. They either have a direct correlation or relationship with each other, or an inverse, right? When one goes up, the other one goes down. So that's useful background knowledge to have when you do this kind of stuff. For the most part, N, our sample size, is what we want to connect with. So that is what we typically want to find, right? So that's on there by default. And so it gives you a breakdown for calculating N, calculating power, or calculating the effect size, right? Target effect size and minimum desired power is what we need. For N, to calculate power, we need the effect size and our known sample size. So this will be post hoc power. This is power of an already collected sample. Data has already been analyzed. And then we calculate effect size for the effect size given whatever test that we're doing, knowing our sample size, again, already collected, and the power that we wanted, okay, or we shot for, like 80% or something like that. And in all cases, you have to set your error rate for type 1, which is our significant effect criterion, or alpha. Now, there is a manual. Of course, there's a manual. This is what you can find. pamlj.github.io takes you to this website. So this is Marcello Gallucci's page set up for this. So if we go to correlation, this is what it looks like, and it gives you info on what to do. So you can use this website to assist you in power analysis, and it gives you a really good overview on what you're looking for, how to do a sensitivity analysis down here, looking at the power curve, which gives you lovely colors. And then again, for doing, so that's aim is N, aim is power, and then you can leave comments by spotting a bug or all that kind of stuff where you can return to the main page. This is what he's using for doing these things. So Albers and Lakin's bias sample size estimates and a priori power analysis due to the choice effect size index and follow-up bias Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. So, and this is version greater than 0.2.0, and we have that, so perfect. So I will explore each of these again, except for SEM, and let me show you why we're doing that. So go to power, let's go to t-test. Again, t-test here gives you information. It takes you to that manual. Proportions, okay, you can do independent samples, one sample, paired sample, okay? And these are, proportions. So for example, a binomial test, okay, general linear model, we can use effect size for partial eta squared, or beta for, this is what we would use for regression equations. We would have our betas, okay? Then we can do factorial designs. We can use effect size or expected means. This you would need to have data open for this, okay? So we either use the built-in calculations. If we're like, okay, we're looking for a partial eta squared of 0.2, there we go, okay? And then mediation. So we have a simple mediation with this x to y and m in the middle, okay? Or we can do multiple mediators that we have M1 and M2 that make this, I guess, diamond shape, I suppose, right? 2 parallel mediators, 3 parallel mediators, which shows us this one, or 2 serial mediators. M2 is directly mediated by M1. That's how you would do that. So I'm not going to do all of those in videos, but we are going to do a mediation power analysis. So let me show you SEM here. The reason why I'm not going to do this one is that you need to have our background, right? So this big box here is asking for our code. And how we know that is if we go to this one and we choose SEM, and you can see, now you're more than welcome to grab this model to do it, right? And you can change what you want here. I don't know. It's based on Lavon, okay, which is the Lavon R package, and then the SEM power package. So these are already in the module, Lavon and SEM power, R power, excuse me. And then you can change what you want in here for your specific test. I think that's a little too into the weeds for what I do on this channel for Jamovi and JASP. So I'm gonna not do the SEM power analysis. So apologies to those who are like, oh, I wish you did that one. But there will be future videos on each of the 6 top ones here: correlation, t-test, proportions, general linear model, factorial designs, and mediation. And we will explore these in far more detail when we do each of these. So we'll go through different examples, we'll go through changes, what happens to the sample size when we do X, calculating power, calculating effect size. We'll go through each of the 3 aims for each of these, right? So that's what we'll do. We'll go through doing an N example, doing a power example, and doing an effect size example, and taking a look at our sensitivity analyses and taking a look at all of those. But I'm excited to explore another avenue of power analysis, one that I could suggest to my students so they don't have to download another app like GPower. It's a little bit more cumbersome, that kind of thing. I'm excited to see what we can do with this one. So stay tuned for those videos. I hope you watch them and get to know them a little bit more. That's going to do it for this episode. Any comments, suggestions, questions, or other feedback, please leave those in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.